Okay, let's get started. Hey guys, and welcome back to the fourth day of Offset. We have a very rowdy chat, and I'm excited to have everybody here. If this is your first time here, hi, and welcome to Offset. This is the time where I get to take over Adobe Live for the week and interview really cool artists and talk about their process, their inspiration, their designs. And today I'm really excited to have Lilla on. We're going to be talking to her about everything from what inspires her work to the different kind of work that she's done in the past. And we have a full loaded show for you for an hour and a half. So make sure you have us on if we're on in the background or if you want to stay completely engaged. We would love to hear your comments. This is a live stream after all. If you ask questions or comments in the chat, I will relay them to Lilla. So just keep them coming as they come. Train of thought. I'll be good to go. Thank you to Wade Acuff. He is in the chat as a moderator. He's also a wonderful live streamer here on Behance. So make sure you check out his stuff on Adobe Live and on Behance on his own profile. Alongside Wade, we have a bunch of other people in chat, from Mare to Sean to Kendall and Clever. Sean Cozell, thank you for being here. Anthony Jackson. Also Rick is here. Hi, Rick. Good to see you again. You're joining from sunny Florida. Well, I am streaming from cloudy Brooklyn. So just, you know, Sean says rub it in, but also rub in the sunscreen. Also, Faded Fools and Mona K are over on YouTube. Glad to see you guys are here. Most of the conversation will be happening over on Behance. So if you're feeling lonely, make sure you hop on over onto the Behance, which has the same stream. It'll just have the conversation happening over there. But that is enough about me. Also, hi to Peter. It's great to have you guys here. But more importantly, our guest of honor today is Lilla. So I'd love to go ahead and bring Lilla in. So welcome to the show, Lilla.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm super excited to be here, and I'm looking forward to a nice chat about design and illustration and everything in between.
Great, good to hear. And you're joining us from Greece today, right?
I am joining you from sunny Athens. You can hear some sirens in the background, probably. I used to start my intros with where I was based from. Ever since the pandemic, this has changed quite a bit, and I've been moving around Europe quite a bit. So right now I'm in Athens, enjoying the sun and drawing inspiration from random stuff. But yeah.
You definitely win the cool card for where everyone is today. I know I was saying that Rick was over in Florida, but I think we'd all rather be in Athens if we could. Just for everyone that may be unfamiliar with your work, do you just want to give a quick elevator pitch as to who you are as an artist and as a person?
Of course. Yeah. Okay. I am a graphic designer and illustrator and a creative director, and really just an all-round creative. I've been a freelancer for quite some time, although now I do work in-house at Shopify. I like to work on random and different projects. So it's not just illustration, it's not just graphic design. I do focus on branding work. But I like to kind of oversee UI, UX projects. I like to work on a little bit of animation, a little bit of packaging design. So throw everything you can think of, and I'll be excited to jump straight in.
Yeah, a woman of all trades. Well, it's very relevant and showcased in your work, just to give people a good idea of what your work looks like and what you're passionate about. I would love to hop into our very first segment, which is Let's Look at Your Work. Let's look at your work. So I went ahead and I pulled up your website under the project section. You have some really good case studies here. By the way, if you go just straight to bardenova.com, it has this cute little circle thing happening. Also, it has a great animation to begin with, but it has this cute little area over here, which is check my work, which I really like, which breaks right into your case studies. Do you have a personal favorite that you have kind of showcased here?
Oof, that's like picking a favorite child. That's an impossible question. Some projects are more fun than others, and throughout my career, I've always wanted to create a specific sticker pack So the one that's for Facebook, like if you scroll a bit down to the Kumo one, this was something that I've aspired to for a long time, and seeing it happening and making it real is just like a personal achievement of mine. These stickers are available on Facebook Messenger. You can send them to people you know, people you don't know, to me, to whoever you like. But it was just a fun project to be involved with. And you can jump to Dribbble and see like a bit more about it, because as I said, this website is forever under construction and forever will be. But yeah.
Okay, so this is your Kuma pack right here. You have these cute little animations for it.
Yeah.
And so this is a little bit of a cloud that is experiencing different weather packs. Did you get any sort of briefing for what they wanted as far as stickers go, or was it kind of just
No, the fun
whatever
part
works?
about it is that all the creative direction, all the ideation, brainstorming was up to me. So I was pretty much able to do whatever I wanted, and that's what makes this project so fun to begin with. Um, there was a lot of exploration. This came out of like rounds and rounds of ideas. It was not my first go, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it was just fun seeing it evolve, and it was also like a pretty solid project as well. So just seeing it out live and just seeing people using these stickers and having fun with them has been really enjoyable.
All right, so let's narrow it down even more. And so you can't pick a favorite child, but now you're gonna have to pick a favorite child of your favorite children. Which one of these six is your favorite?
Oh, the meditating one, that's easy.
Meditating one? Okay, that one's good. It's very cute. I think my favorite might be the little angry thunder lightning guy.
Is that you?
Yeah, because that's me on most days, I feel like. Like he's angry, but he's got it all under control. He's got his tongue out and he's focused, you know?
Yeah.
But these are really cute. I like how you use noise onto the shadows, which is a nice subtle way of adding that depth without having to kind of break the idea of the flatness. Was there anything in particular that you referenced when you were making these as a form of inspiration?
Oof. Honestly, I looked at a lot of images of clouds just to just to kind of go through that round of
That tracks.
and brainstorming. But I also wanted to bring like a lot of emotion. So this went into like the exploration round as well. Just trying to bring it all together and make it fun and enjoyable, and obviously targeted towards like a bigger group of people. I wanted this to feel nice and feel like it's your friend and you can rely on it. But yeah.
Oh, well, a lot of people in chat are big fans of it. We have Alejandro who says, love the illustration style. So cute. Anthony says, so cool. These are cute and amazing. So they are crowd favorites. Also, I want to say thank you for tuning in for the first time, Mayor. It's good to have you here for this is your first stream. It's going to be a great stream. So thank you for being here. But yeah, no, do you use these in your own chats? Do you get to use your stickers at all?
I do a lot. Yeah. Also, a fun thing about these is that my mom was not on social media, and she downloaded Facebook just to send them to me. And she sends them to me and my sister every single day. If something happens on Facebook, the only thing my mom reacts to is by adding a sticker. So at least she supports my work and she's proud of me.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Also, you love to say it. So we also have another really cool one that I like down here, which is this GoDaddy's piece. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, this was a more recent project, and it is
Is it also on your
animations.
Dribbble?
Oh, sorry.
Is it also on your Dribbble? Do you have it on yours?
If you hover on the image on the website, you'll be able to see
Yeah, my
some.
Chrome has just been so problematic lately. It's just like I think I'm switching browsers soon because it's just it
Okay,
gets so angry at websites.
if you just jump on Dribble, I'll be able to pull out some of those. I think.
Oh, okay, so there's also down here as well.
Yeah, if you scroll down a bit, you'll see. Oh, this one with the flowers is for GoDaddy. It's like a little animation for Mother's Day. It's just like these little projects are so fun to work on, because it is like, again, I get to brainstorm and just bring all the creative direction that I want to, but also work on the illustration and then the animation. So it's a full rounded project. And as I said, I like to dab into a little bit of everything. So to me, this is like the perfect brief. Do just everything from start to finish. these are used as stories on the GoDaddy app called Over. So it's just like a little prompt to make your day better.
Yeah, and just also add that extra piece of life to those stories, which is cool. I really want it to work because the little party hats that I had seen too are so cute. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. Actually, we're gonna switch browsers because I'm that angry about it. Shout out to Opera for pulling through. So let's see if we can get it to pull up, or it might even just be mad at me in general. No. What if we do open video new tab? There we go. We found a way. Oh, I just love the little party hats. I love the little sun with his little fingers out. So these all, I guess, exist as small kind of like what PNGs that then are GIFs that kind of move on the websites and they kind of loop out. Would they ever kind of exist as a sticker in a similar way, I guess, to Facebook, if you could?
Not in the scope of this project. They're intended for the GoDaddy app right now. But what is really fun about it is that I am obsessed with frame by frame animation, and these were all done frame by frame,
Wow.
which just adds a little bit more fun to it as well.
Yeah, I definitely like the hand drawn feeling to it, but you also have consistency so that it doesn't feel wonky. I could have easily have thought they were just fully made with tweening in After Effects just because they have that smooth feeling to it.
Oh, awesome! Yeah.
So yeah, you definitely have this illustrative style that you can use with a lot of projects, but you are not a one-trick pony. You also have done UI and UX. Do you want to talk a little bit about maybe some of this work for Bandwidth?
Yeah, of course. I have worked for a bunch of different telco companies, and it's been quite the journey because telco is not really brand focused. So it's a bit more challenging that, let's say, working in tech or working for a cool startup, because you have to kind of really push for design decisions and really try to convince people why design matters and why design is important. Bandwidth is a telco company that acquired a previous telco company that I worked with. And I like to believe that the brand work we did at the previous company called Voxpo, and you can see some of the branding work there as well if you go back to the website. Some of the branding work we did there, actually, if you scroll up, it's the purple, this one with the bus.
Oh, cute. Oh, and I love the tags for the Snapchat as well.
Yeah.
That's so
But
fun.
I mean, just to work on branding projects in the telco world has been an amazing learning curve for me. Because again, when things are not designed first, it could get a bit tricky and a bit challenging. But kind of pushing for good execution and for good design work has proven very beneficial.
Now, for these tags with these names, were they inspired by anything in particular with the thing that's kind of related to the area, or were they more so you kind of focused on the shapes and the color and the livelihood of it that you then kind of came back to it?
I wanted to create like a type specific for this set. We had another set that was location specific with like the Eiffel Tower and with a pretzel from Munich, stuff like this. But for this one, I just wanted to specifically focus on a type that felt like a little bit of scrapbooking, a little bit of cutting out paper pieces and putting them together, so that I really enjoy organic feels of illustration. So I always try to bring that in, especially when I work on digital stuff.
Yeah, they have a little bit of a Keith Haring vibe to them almost, just with
Oh, I
their
love that.
livelihood
I wish.
and how they move around. But I think, yeah, even for the Paris one and the Eiffel Tower that you have there, I think that it's cool that it even relates to its space, which is nice. By the way, I forgot to call it out when we were looking at the last one. Kendall said they were so cute. And people want to know where you kind of build out your animation. Do you feel like you build it all in program, or is it mostly like you do on pencil and paper and then you kind of bring it into the computer?
Both. Honestly, it's both for me, because I just try to learn new things all the time and try to be creative in new ways that are not necessarily what I know really well. To me, it would be easy to build my animations in After Effects. It's not going to be as time consuming as, say, frame by frame, but because I get to enjoy it so much, I just try to always bring something new to the table and see if it actually works. Sometimes it doesn't pay off, to be honest. Sometimes it does. And in the case of the GoDaddy animations, I really think it paid off.
Yeah. I think that it adds a bit of flavor to it, and it feels very, I don't know, genuine in the sense of it's playfulness, which is cool. I think you also have this kind of similar playfulness with Udemy. What was this project about?
This project was about Udemy's rebrand. So I work with another amazingly talented illustrator. Shout out to Radus Georgieva. So we got to develop this huge library of hand-drawn illustrations. And what I love about this is the texture and the pencil texture feel to all of the illustrations. And these were like smaller bits and pieces. There were bigger pieces as well. Just a very well-rounded illustration library. I get really excited when I talk about systems and libraries, especially in illustration, because it's often overlooked, but it's a really great asset to any brand. So just getting to work on this with great, amazing designers is always super fun.
Yeah. And I think that it's cool how they all feel unique to the brand itself. Like you kind of have this over encompassing idea of these hand drawn feelings between different products, but they all have their own feel and they all have their own setting. We have a question in the chat from Alejandro, which says, where do you get your color palette inspirations from?
Oh, that's a great question. Everywhere. Honestly, I pull images from any website I can think of. I pull images from Dribble, I open up Behance, I pull mood boards. If I like a certain poster or illustration, even a web page, I just instantly try to replicate that color palette into my projects. And it's just like, I don't feel like I'm natural with colors. I stick to the ones that I feel I'm comfortable with. I can whip up any kind of project with blues and pinks, to be honest. It's my safe space and my go-to, but I try to kind of, again, push my boundaries a little bit and experiment. So I'm trying to kind of draw inspiration from other people's work.
That's a great answer. Vinci, by the way, is over on YouTube saying that it all looks very beautiful and clean and it's incredible. Mona is excited about the sparkles in the eyes forever. I think that you have a wide sentiment also with Jeff is saying, I get you about the learning curve. I'm trying to get comfortable in medical, but there's so many acronyms. And I think that our job as designers is so hard because you kind of have to be an expert in everything and an expert at nothing at the same time. And you have to kind of keep up with account and all of the different people that are working in this industry day to day. And you're like, okay, cool. Like I might be working in telecoms today, but tomorrow I'm, working in public transit with, this Voxbone client. So it's a lot to keep up with. So you worked with Voxbone and this is on the side of a bus now. Was that really weird seeing your work like drive by you?
I didn't see this bus live. I wish I did. This was sent to me by a friend. I mean, doing like work that gets out in the wild is always a weird feeling. And I love when people actually see my work and they send pictures to me and they're happy that they know who's done it. I think it's always exciting to see your work in the wild.
Oh yeah, it's a privilege that not everyone I feel like can kind of land on. I've done a lot of different ads for like pharma companies at my old agency, but I was never in the demographic, so I was never served them. But in the off chance that I ever was like served an ad that I made, I was like,
yeah, of course, it's always great, and it's even better when people kind of spot these for you and start getting excited for you. So it's always a nice like warm feeling.
Yeah. Do you specifically remember like one of the first times you ever did, and do you remember what that was?
I remember, so one of my best friends lives in Atlanta, and we only see each other every like 5 years. And she was an avid Snapchat user, and I wasn't at the time, but I was working on geo filters, stickers, and stuff like this. So she randomly sent me a Snapchat of hers without knowing with a sticker of mine on top, just showing me something about that Snapchat. And I was like, oh, this is actually my sticker. And she went absolutely crazy. She was like, what in the world? So I remember this very vividly because she was like, I'm obsessing over this without even knowing that it was mine.
Yeah.
It was just like,
I mean, that's the biggest form of flattery right there, is just complete, genuine, actually love for it. Vinci's also wondering if they were drawn with a graphic tablet or if you're doing everything with a mouse.
Again, both.
Both, okay.
I'm working on an iPad, but I also bring everything and vectorize, so I'm using the mouse a lot when I'm trying to perfect some little bits and bobs.
Yeah. Mona wants to know if there's a product you would most like to work on.
Oh, that's a great question. I am forever in love with digital stickers. I cannot get enough of those. If you hit me up with a project about digital stickers, I will 9 out of 10 times say yes, even if I don't have the time for it, just because it gets me so excited. I'm obsessed with stickers.
Do you have a dream client for stickers that you would be like, I would love it?
I do, and I worked for them starting this year. I cannot say anything because it's still in the works, but I will be able to share something later this year, and it will be.
Are you able to at least give us an industry? Like, was it candy? Was it direct to consumer?
It is.
If you're also not allowed to, I don't want to get you in trouble.
No, it's fine. I'm not going to say the name. It's a streaming service.
Oh, perfect. That's fantastic. And then you get to use stickers with it. So that that will obviously be used by a lot of people, because that obviously it has a wide net, you know.
Forward to that. And also with that project, I'm not allowed to say anything else. With that project, I had a brainstorm group of 5th graders just giving me feedback on my work. And it was the best thing. It was like a first time me experiencing this. The feedback you get from 5th graders is just out of this world. I've never been so happy in my life to hear my work torn apart, but also loved at the same time.
Right. You're like, I now am going to use a focus group of 5th graders for all work moving forward.
Honestly, if I could, I would. You should definitely try it out. It's super fun.
And then we can move on in just a second, but I do also want to talk about these 7-Eleven stickers, just because they also really caught my eye. I love the hot dog. I love the pine tree thing that you're holding back. Was this also something similar where you kind of had creative reign, or did they come to you and they were like, okay, we need a hot dog sticker, we need something focused on this deal, or did they kind of just like give you creative reign of things that you thought were easy to call out?
This was honestly, I am so grateful that people actually appreciate and value my creative input and just let me be as creative as I can get. I'm not a content designer. I'm not good at coming up with fun puns and catchy like phrases and stuff, but I definitely want to pursue it. And sometimes it works really well when you kind of oversee the whole creative direction from start to finish. And with this one, it was again this case. So I was like directing everything from the jokes we did to the colors that we used. Obviously, it's a 7-Eleven brand, so we were a bit limited, and we ended up just going like monotone on these ones. But I was onboarded to this project as an illustrator, and I ended up helping a lot with the direction of the updated branding that we did, just because a lot of the sticker language came to play when the brand was being developed. So it was really interesting to see how it all came together. And again, this is something that comes up when you are kind of an all-round creative. You can dab into something and help brainstorm with the branding, even though you're doing obviously the illustration, or you can jump into UI design and help with that. So it's always great to kind of oversee the project and not just stick to your own little part of it.
Yeah, don't what do they say? Don't mistake the don't miss the forest for the trees. Is that the saying? Or did I mess that up?
Yeah.
Something like that. Basically, oh, you can't see the forest, the trees for the forest, the forest. I'm sure chat will let me know in about 5 seconds. But Mona said, I would love machine embroidered patches with your illustrations on them, which would be amazing. Have you ever done anything kind of physical in that sense?
Oh, I would love to. That would be another dream project. I've never done this, but I will definitely add it to my list of dream projects.
Also, in the chat over on Behance, Peter is asking if the typeface with your name on your website, if it is a custom typeface.
It is.
It is. Oh, very cool. It's beautiful. it's this kind of like cut into piece. And I guess we could also talk a little bit about your website. I know you said it's still a work in progress. I like this idea of these little squiggles that speak through. And I know you said you like to use your blue and pinks a lot. But how did you approach creating this? And how do you feel like it still represents you? And what do you want to change about it?
What I want to I will start backwards. What I want to change about it is just add actual case studies, which I'm terrible with. It just takes a lot of time and effort, and I'm always overthinking it. And I've just added some previews for now, and I've kept it fairly simple, just so it's out there. And I'm happy that something is out there. But I usually work on a lot of projects that are NDA, and I cannot showcase them in any way online. So what I've assembled here is just like random stuff that I can share. And that's why I feel like I need some time to really think my case studies through and pick favorites and pick the best of the best. With the website, it's just me trying to be as straight to the point as I can be. I like cool typography. I scribble and doodle a lot, so I wanted to feature this as well. And I wanted to just create a safe space for some of my work.
And speaking of safe space and having this kind of like intimate experience with you and your work, I know at one point you had a Substack. Do you still have your Substack?
I have plans and I think in advance, and I just don't find time to do it. I want
It takes a lot of time. It's a big commitment.
It takes a lot of time, Ryan, and it is something that I am super passionate about. I wanted to start a newsletter. I had like the first 3 or 4 written down. I wanted to share more work in progress. I wanted to keep in touch with people, and I wanted to do this and this and that. The reality of it is, I do have a full-time job. I do take up on extra work. I do have like personal life in between that as well. So it's just difficult to keep up with everything. But maybe someday.
Maybe someday in the future. I think that it's a really great transition, actually, also into this idea of process and how you get to places. We have a segment that we call Let's Look at Your Sketchbook, where we kind of look at different process. So let's hop on into that, and we can talk a little bit about how you get going.
Ooh, let's see your sketchbook.
Now, I know you shared a PDF with me, but it might be actually easier if you go through and you walk through on your end. That way you can kind of scroll up and down. Do you want to share your screen so we can see kind of the sketches of your process?
Definitely. Just let me share my screen.
By the way, still getting so many kind compliments all over the chat. And also thank you to Peter for helping me out with Forest for the Trees. You can't see the forest for the trees is what it is, because it's seeing like the bigger thing, but I guess it was the other way around. So
we're pretty close.
We got there somehow.
If you can see my screen, and I will walk you through what's in my sketchbook.
Oh, surprisingly not, actually. It's coming up blank for me for some reason, but that's okay, because I can also just pull it up on my end as well. And then we can actually just walk through it there if that's helpful. But thank you for putting this together for us. You shared a collection of different doodles that you have all over the place with beautiful colors, actually outside of your purples and pinks, as you say.
But you still get to see a lot of purples and pinks.
Yeah. But you want to talk us through a few of these different ideas? Are these all previous sketches from projects? Are they ones that haven't been manifested into final products yet? Let us know what this is all about.
Yeah, of course. Honestly, this is just quick ideas, sketches, composition doodles, just to get me going. Sometimes when I am actually stuck on something, I just doodle different shapes and the intersection between them, trying to figure out how to unblock myself so I can continue with a project that I'm working on. So what you'll be able to see on my sketchbook, and it's not a sketchbook, I doodle on my iPad, but I also do have a sketchbook that I use for like notes and stuff. So all my to-do lists are...
Oh, wow. Do you have a preference at all towards what you kind of gravitate to for your sketchbook, or is it just anything with paper?
It is a Muji notebook.
Muji, okay.
Just because I love their like stationery. And I've been using them for years, so I just stick to that. But I've grown out of the habit of like doodling and sketching by hand, so I pretty much do everything on my iPad now. Sometimes even taking notes. I'm trying to take all my notes on the iPad. It's not as easy, but everything else is just going there. So it's, as I said, scribbles, doodles, testing out different variations of like different characters, walk cycles. I doodle a lot
Dreaded
of
walk cycles.
the
Oof.
dreaded walk cycles. Yes, I try to explore variations before I jump into animation. But yeah, it's just a lot of explorations. It's pretty inconsistent. Sometimes I like to use like a pencil brush just to feel a bit more organic. Sometimes I like to use like big blotchy brushes just to be a bit more aggressive. But yeah, it's a little bit of everything really.
Can you tell me a little bit about this wonderful fish and bird that we have going on here? Who are these dudes?
Okay, the fish on the skateboard is a funny story because when I don't know what to do, when I was a kid, I used to draw palm trees on a little isolated island.
Of
And
course, like
this,
everyone, I feel like that's so classic.
yes, this was me. And now my thing is a fish on a skateboard. So if I'm not feeling like 100% creative, if I'm not feeling like I can pull off another walk cycle or another character exploration or stuff like this, I just draw a fish on a skateboard. I feel like it's pretty funny. Sometimes I draw a hat, sometimes I draw like headphones, sometimes I draw boots, sometimes I draw sneakers, stuff like this. But it's always a fish on a skateboard, and as you can see, it's purple.
Lilla, I love it, but that is so weird. Like, why a fish on a skateboard? That's so crazy. But I love, like, I want to have this collection of all the different fish that you have drawn on a skateboard now.
Honestly, that's a great idea because I have files for every single project that I work on, and sometimes like on the bottom of it, you can see a fish on a skateboard, and it's always like, as I said, it's always different. Collecting them all would be a really nice thing to see. I'm gonna definitely do that.
Also, even like I know you said you worked on some walk cycles or whatnot, without having to even move that other foot. I feel like you could easily really do an animation of just like a kind of a push as it kind of moves along.
Yeah, definitely.
But I also really like what you did here with the halftones here. As I know we looked at with your cloud project, you used noise, whereas here you're using more of like a specific halftone dotted thing for your shading, which is really nice. Was your sexy little bird in boxers just part of the fish situation, or was it just kind of like going along and breaking that brain block?
I honestly wish I had a cool story for this guy. Randomly saw this in one of my files, and I was like, I'm just gonna bring this in because there's power to this guy. I like it.
He's got little tiny butt cheeks. It's just like it's just like if you look close enough, it's like he's doing his little flex, which is funny.
He is super determined. I wish I was that determined to go like work out right now, but I'm not.
Wade says the fish situation, which would be really funny actually to even just like call your brain idea the fish situation. I know you said that you take some notes when you're on your iPad, and I saw that you have up here kind of this pink area. Is this the beginning ideas for a project, or is this kind of just manifestations that you do in kind of a journalistic way to bring positivity to yourself?
I wish it was manifestations. It certainly sounds like it's actually an idea for a bigger project on kindness and being helpful towards others and stuff like this. So this was me trying to think about what I can draw for this. And the illustration on the left, Care for Others, is like the starting point for this project. And I just felt like I wanted to include this because you can see my ugly hand little sketches that are high-fiving, the ones that are like holding something and stuff like that. This is like my very, very first interpretation of what my idea should look like, just so I don't forget when I pick this up again.
Do you feel you normally start your ideation with words or with images?
Usually with images, I am better starting with images, but sometimes I need to write things down so that it's easier for me to, again, to pick up
Where you
from
kind of
what.
left off.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I also really like the Lily has a bakery. I'm guessing it's some sort of kind of like logo or so. It's giving me a little bit of Schoolhouse Rock vibes.
Oh, love that. Honestly, this is, again, I wish I had more background to why I've done this. It's a personal sketch for myself. And I feel like this was me exploring what kind of logo would I get if I opened a bakery, and it would be called Lily Has a Bakery, and it would be like this super sweet kind of cute place. And I wanted to sketch it out, but that's as far as I remember. So this is supposed to be me carrying a big baguette, I guess.
Back when you have short hair, I guess. And then down here we also have like it's really cool with the breadth of your work. How I know I said it before, but how it can drastically change between project to project. This one feels a lot more shape based, which is cool to see.
Yeah.
But you're making some really abstract exaggerations, like between the eyes and the ideas of proportions. What is this one about?
These are just composition doodles, trying to kind of see if a concept that I have really works. Sometimes I would sketch something and it's supposed to be a part of a bigger set, and I would pigeonhole myself and put myself into a corner and not be able to kind of flex it and expand it. So this is just me running through ideas and seeing, okay, this is supposed to be a set, it's supposed to be very geometric. Is it going to work if I try to use it for all the different prompts that I have? So I'm just trying things out and trying to prove my concept here.
Yeah, to that point, actually, you work so frequently in sets of things. Because if you really like working in sticker packs or you like working in branding and you have to have a consistent voice through all of it, how do you approach keeping the voice the same? Do you normally start at a high level and do like sketches beyond everything? Or is it kind of like a one-to-one and you reference the last one as you create the next?
My secret would be to create, I don't want to say tens, but a lot of options for the same thing.
Yeah.
Just to kind of overview everything like a complete set. And let's say I have a set of 6 stickers. I usually draw 60 and pick out of those, just so I know I've exhausted every single option that my brain can think of. And I'm happy that, okay, these 6 that I've picked are actually the best that I can do. So my secret here would be just to
Draw.
build the biggest set ever, and then just start picking favorites.
Yeah. Peter wants to know if you do warm-up sketches or if you just hop right into it.
I used to do warm-up sketches. Right now, I don't feel like it. I just try to, again, prove my concepts relatively fast so I know if my ideas work or if I need to go back to mood boarding. But I tend to skip sketches at this point.
Oh, love that. And then we kind of already touched on it a little bit, but we do have a segment called Burnout.
Ooh.
So I know you said that you like to draw this fish on a skateboard whenever you're kind of stuck, but obviously when you're working in these kind of big things where you're drawing 60 to just have 6, I feel like that can be very easily a corner into a burnout situation or an art block situation. Are there any things you do in particular to prevent art block or having some sort of burnout? And then also, what do you do once it happens? Is it just specifically the fish, or do you take a walk? Do you like to read books? What do you like to do?
I love this question, and I love that we are stuck on the fish because I feel like it could be a burnout mascot. It definitely is my kind of way around this. Honestly, my approach to this would be to find hobbies that have nothing to do with your just digital presence or with your day-to-day work and stuff like this. I like to read a lot. I run with my dog Fuji. I go to pottery classes whenever I can. I wish I was more serious with this, but it's time consuming. So I just try to be busy with my hands in different ways. I definitely like arts and crafts, so I try to be as crafty as I can with the time that I have, but not be stuck on looking on displays or on my phone or stuff like this. Just be able to get out of that bubble and jump into something completely different.
That's really cool that you do pottery. I've always thought it'd be a cool thing to explore, and it's so cool that it's so separate from any sort of branding. Like a lot of times when you kind of pick up a new skill or trade or hobby, a lot of times you want to find a way to then apply a business to it, which can be profitable, but can also be unhealthy. And I think that having something so physical and so far from branding or illustration as pottery is such a great suggestion and a good thing to explore.
It's on there's so many different hobbies you can pick up that are still crafty if you want to stay creative, or you can pick up like different sports. You can go out and dance, you can do so many different things, but the importance here is to find something to keep you busy, but also let you just be as creative as you can be.
As far as the fish again, sorry to keep bringing back the fish. I'm obsessed with fish. This is the number one takeaway. I mean, you were giving me so much wonderful information about being an artist, but today's takeaway is going to be that you draw this fish. I love it.
I love it.
But Annika wants to know if you have an idea of about how many fish you probably have drawn.
Ooh.
Are we talking about hundreds, you think?
I believe it will be hundreds.
Probably hundreds.
Honestly,
yeah, you should definitely work on curating them.
Takeaway from this would be to go back, look at all my files on my iPad, find all the fish, and just bring it all together and just see the progression of the fish on skateboard. That was amazing.
Well, I think this would be a great time talking about going back and looking at things would be a great time to actually visit one of our other segments, which is when we go way, way back and we like to look at something in the past and we like to see how it affects things now. In our segment called From This to That.
From this to that.
Now, you're nice enough to send over another PDF also for this. And it is this collection of portraits of these cute little faces. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what this is, when this is from, who this was for, how you feel about it?
This, I mean, to me, this is like the best reminder of how you're starting and where you're getting. This was done, it took some digging to get to this file, but I finally found it because I wanted to share this with everybody. This is my first attempt at stickers for Facebook when Facebook had no stickers. This was done back in 2011 or 2012.
Wow,
this was
over like 10 years ago.
This was one of my first 100% vector works. I was still figuring things out in Illustrator using the blob brush tool forever and being completely frightened from the pen tool. But I was obsessed with just stickers for messaging apps. They were huge in Japan, and I was like, we need to bring these. I created the set, and I pitched to Facebook. I pitched to WhatsApp. I sent this everywhere, just to every single messaging app I could think of, because I thought these were looking bomb, and I was like, we will just rule the world with these stickers. I was seeing in the future. Looking back at it now, I mean, they could have been done better. I was obsessed with little textures. I was obsessed with this kind of drawing of the noses. I thought the emotions were there. Now that I'm looking at them, I can't really tell what is what, except for maybe the crying one, which would be me now looking at this. But it's important to get back to work like this and see how much you've progressed. Obviously, this was ages ago, but I was so obsessed on stickers back then as well. And it finally happened some years later, and I feel like my work now is a bit more.
I feel like these are still totally redeemable because I love a lot of these. I like specifically this little tired guy and this little surprise guy, and I feel like they could be one and the same of the same person. And I think you have some interesting things going on here. Some are way more symmetrical than other ones are. I think it finds more success with symmetrical. And I think it's just because it has that clean feel to it. But I can also see that there are some like wavering lines that aren't as leaned into as you have maybe with your newer work, where like something feels fully hand drawn or fully vector, and maybe like one for this like pink one feels a little bit more of that uncanny valley between the two. And I still think you should have extreme pride in these, but it's interesting to see kind of where you've come since having these. Is there anything in particular that you kind of see you have really carried through into your work today?
I am still very keen on some of the textures. I still use like this little pattern on the yellow face that you see in her hair. Um,
Little
I'm
tic-tacs.
very keen on, yeah, I'm very keen on keeping those textures in my new illustrations. I feel like with this work in particular, I am my biggest critic when it comes to, I obviously wasn't thinking about color theory. I obviously wasn't thinking about symmetry. I was trying to figure Illustrator out, and this was my biggest like mission for this project. But I also had a vision for these stickers, and I kind of made it happen with a different project and a different time, but it was a good starting point to me getting into that space.
Absolutely. I love the patterns on them. I'm glad that you still use them. What would be cool to see with these even would to see the pattern maybe pan to the side and the objects stay the same, so it would kind of just have like a flowing kind of vibe to it. Anthony's asking if you want to make schedules for messaging, and she actually already has. So there's actually a series of different messaging apps, both in Facebook. And do you have any on iMessage by any chance?
The Kuma one is on iMessage as well, so you can use it inside Facebook and on iMessage.
And then also in chat, Anthony was just saying that in general, these are very, very cool, which I definitely agree with. There's one other one of from this that I'd like to bring up just because it feels so different from anything that we've looked at today. And this is one of your first projects that you have shared online. It's this astronaut. And I was wondering kind of what you feel is different from your work now from this and what you still feel is the same.
When I started using Illustrator back in the day, I have no idea when this was done, but when
this is back from 2013.
Ooh, okay. When I started using Illustrator, what I would do is just create atrocious collages of every single texture that I could find. So pretty much like this, but like this is a bit more me getting into Photoshop and trying to make sense of it. But it was me slapping every single texture that I could find. Gradients, watercolors, like geometric shapes, you name it, I slapped it in and I thought it looked bomb. And this is like a next step of that process. So I was very keen on adding a bit more depth with the watercolors. I was trying to recreate an organic feel into the digital space, which is something that I still try to do, but in a different way. My illustrations back then were a lot more realistic than I would try to do now. And also I'm trying to simplify my processes and my style as well, which you can't see in this illustration. I still like it very much. I think it's looking nice. It's just not something that I would do at all today.
Now, I think that's a really good point to bring up about kind of your use and your relationship to textures. How do you approach textures now? Do you feel like you're more reserved with them?
I definitely am. In my branding work, I always try to bring some of it just for the fun of it, because I feel like there's definitely fun to be had with textures and different layers and just bringing another element to a brand. So when it comes to brand work and design, I try to be a bit more open to textures. When it comes to illustration, because sometimes I work with really small sizes, I tend to go as clean as possible so that you are not distracted by textures or stuff that shouldn't be there, and just enjoy a little fun illustration.
Yeah, you don't want to make it too noisy with too much added information. Yeah. Now, there's no wrong answer to this. It's just a method of style. Are you someone who likes to go and capture your own textures from scans and pictures, or are you more of someone who likes to go online and grab it from stock?
I used to be someone who created their own textures. Now I'm a bit lazier than that, and I just grab what's available.
No, I definitely don't think it's definitely a lazy thing. I think it's just there's a means of like how much is it going to showcase in my work. I feel like some people have a great deal of pride in the fact that they grab all their textures, and then there's people like me who I'm just going to get offline anyway. So I think that both have their strengths. And it's just always interesting to hear kind of how artists resource the things that they create their art with. We're about an hour into our show. Time is flying by. Having a great time. Thank you for being here. We like to do a little break in the middle of our show for Monkey Paws, which is a focus on your hand health. Would you like to take a break off camera, or would you like to do Monkey Paws with us?
Let's do Monkey Paws. I'm
All
here for
right.
it.
Then I will cue it up. Let's do some Monkey Paws.
Awesome.
So Monkey Paws is an exercise that was taught to me from Anna Davis Court on her live stream. She's another live streamer that live streams on Behance, Twitch, and Adobe Live. So make sure you check out her stuff. She is a fantastic illustrator who has made these cute little monkeys as well that we have on our overlay here. And it is just a series of 4 hand exercises that you can do anywhere. You know, if you're riding the bus, you're sitting at your desk, doesn't matter. And it just helps to make sure that you're taking care of your wrists and your arms, because carpal tunnel can be very detrimental to your workflow. And if you don't have access to your hands, making art is a lot harder. So I'm just going to walk us through here. The first thing we're going to do is you just reach out like this, put your palms out, and then you bring in your fingers to make some monkey paws, and you go, ooh, ooh, ah, ah. Thank you, Oliver, for the noises. Yes, the noises are very important. Thank you. I appreciate that. And you release them. You go down for your second hand movement, which is like this, and you bring them in again. Ooh, ooh, ah, ah. You should be able to feel it a little bit in your wrist. If it hurts at any point, stop. Not a medical professional. These are just exercises to take care of yourself. Then you go over for the third one, which is when you kind of hand them out. Bring it in again, and then release. And then the fourth one is going to be just bringing them up towards you and then doing that. And that one always makes me feel it the most. So yeah, see, I can see that you can feel a little bit there. So you release. You want to shake it up a little bit. We always like to also just put a little focus on maybe like bringing out your neck a little bit, you know, bring your shoulders. There are some other ones that I always bring up that you can go like this and that, but that freaks me out, so I don't do it. Take a walk around, stand up, do your thing if you need to. But we normally just do these like twice, so we'll just do them again for 4 quick ones. So 1, release, ooh, ah, ah, down, ooh, ooh, ah, ah. Whoa, I feel that one for whatever reason. And the more that you do these, the easier they get, and it's also better for your wrists. It feels better. And then of course, if you have a mouse or whatever, it's always good to have like a standing mouse. And just remember to be kind to yourself and be kind to your body, because they are our pathway to creating art. So thank you for doing Monkey Paws with me, though.
Yeah, of course.
So moving right along, we have been talking a lot about your obsession with stickers, and I know that you actually have a collection of ones that you've kind of come across in Athens. I would love to run into the next segment of ours called Could I See Your Collection?
Could I see your collection?
So you also like to collect physical stickers as well, right?
Definitely. I collect these. I try to find places where to put them. Usually, I put them all on my snowboard and just
Oh, you
admire
snowboard.
how cool I am. But yeah, I always collect physical stickers as well. It's just like a love that I've had since my teen years. And ever since I've been in Athens, I saw that every single cool person here has this sticker on their
Ooh.
Vespa or on their laptop or stuff like this. So Fuji came to join.
Hello.
When we talk about stickers, I mean. So I decided to ask like this random guy about where could I find this Greek lover sticker, and it turned out to be the guy who designed them. So I met him, and I
No way. What are the odds?
That was really random.
Yeah.
But it happened. So I got this one, and I'm looking forward to sticking it on my snowboard. Then I found these two. And this is like research work for my work as well. These two are from a pasta place called Baldo. And I think this is like a pomodoro tomato or something. These are so cute. I wish I could take like the whole tape, because these were taped. I just love the little face, and it just makes me feel real nice. This is like a type sticker. This is Hypo, which is like a design shop here in Athens. And then I have this.
Oh, that's cool. Were you able to poke around in the design shop at all?
definitely. If we go back to like dealing with burnout and stuff like this, I just like to go to places I know would be inspiring, like a design museum or a design shop or stuff like this, just to get some inspiration going and to see what's happening out in the world and not just in the digital space, you know.
Yeah, no, just to break that kind of reliance on screens too so much, and the idea of just constantly, I don't know, just seeing everything on such a flat surface. Like, yes, stickers are flat, but still to have that idea of being able to collect something that's physical that you can kind of decide where you place it. Everyone was very excited to see the dog. We have lots of hellos for the dog, so thank you for the co-star. Appreciate that. But speaking, was that all your stickers?
It's been tough, but these are the best ones.
Oh, okay, all right. And we are more than welcome to see as many as you are willing to share. It's great to see them. Thank you for sharing them. Appreciate them. But obviously, I feel like you said it's also very good for your inspiration and finding different ways to continue to be inspired. One thing that we like to really talk about too on Offset is the idea that art doesn't exist in a vacuum. We are kind of the combination of a bunch of different like things that are constantly coming at us, and we are inspired by other artists and things around us. So we like to do one part of our show called Art Talk, where we talk about different inspirations, and you were kind enough to send over a list of names, and I'd love to jump into it. First up, we have Leandro Assis, which I can absolutely see the one-to-one comparison that we have going on here between the two. Do you want to kind of just introduce him and tell us why you chose him?
I absolutely love this guy. He has worked on the best projects ever, every single time delivering work that I think cannot be matched, and every single time he goes like beyond that. I just love every single thing that he does. To me, he's the god of stickers. He's just so good at lettering work, at character work, all round. Like every single project that is on his website or Behance or Instagram is just so delightful, and just really nice to look at.
Yeah, they have a lot of energy to them, and they also have that strong sticker feel that I can see kind of relates to your work in a great way. Also, you have the little sparkles as well. The color palette is also very intriguing. I love this bend around for hello, and also having hello with a W is funny, especially since it's all in yellow. But do you have a favorite product of his that you tend to reference, or do you kind of just open up and scroll through everything?
Scroll through everything all the time. There hasn't been a mood board that I haven't featured one of his projects, just because every single time I find something new. And what I love about him is that he has this distinctive style. You can always see something and say, okay, this is Leandro, but also every single time he brings something extra. So if you scroll to the very bottom, you'll see his like early stuff, and then you can see the gradation with his new stuff and how he progressed over time, which I absolutely love seeing.
Yeah, I mean, these definitely feel like they have their flatness to them, but in a way that isn't as I don't know, I guess like polished as some of his newer stuff. You can see that he's really kind of honed his skill and has found the best way to really make sure, like, because this is still flat, but it has a different intention to it. I love this fresh pepper sticker. These are so cool.
It's just amazing all around.
And then, but you actually mentioned a bunch of different ones. You also mentioned V from V Paintings. Let me see if I can pull these up. And these are wildly different. Do you want to mention why you brought up V?
I found her like a month ago, and I've been obsessed with her ever since. I was thinking about picking up acrylic painting again, and I was looking for some inspiration to kind of how I could easily get into it again. I used to paint a lot, and then I just instantly stopped. Yeah, and picked up digital and haven't gone back since. So I was thinking about going back to acrylics and seeing what I can do. And I found her work, and I've been obsessed. I've been absolutely obsessed. She has like progress videos on TikTok, I think, or Instagram. And when you see how effortlessly she paints these, it's, to me, it's mind-boggling. I wish I could do stuff like this. It's just I want to kind of buy every single painting that she does. They just feel to me very whimsical and very nice.
Yeah, I think it's also such a poignant part of being an artist in that everything that inspires you doesn't necessarily look like the things that you create. Like I find that also happens a lot with musicians. A lot of times I'll find a musician that I like, and you say, "What's their favorite music?" And they'll give this list of people, and I always look it up. And very rarely am I like, "Oh, it sounds very similar to theirs." It's more like kind of you pull what you need to from
Exactly.
these different
Exactly.
pieces and create your own. I'm so interested to hear that you used to do paintings, though. You said that you like to do acrylic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every single piece that I've done is hanging in my parents' apartment. So when I go back, it's just like walking down memory lane and
Okay, for better and for worse.
me reminding myself why I stopped doing acrylics. But
Oh,
it's
no.
it's something that I want to pick up again, just because again, I want to find something creative, like a creative outlet that is not tied to my everyday work. So I feel like having a similar hobby, but something that would be only for myself could be very beneficial.
Yeah. Next up, we have Ghost Puff, which is adorable little illustrations that we have here. Where did you find? Yes, where did you find her? And what inspires you about her work?
I absolutely love every single piece Mona does. And the best part of it is she's one of my best friends, and I get to see behind the scenes of everything that she does. And she is like all round creative as well. She does like embroideries, she knits, she does her own clothes. She's just like crazy creative, and she keeps me inspired all the time. And her style of illustration is super whimsical, and it just gives me a warm feeling every single time I see it. And just having like somebody like this who is also creative but in a completely different realm, to me, is super beneficial because it gives me an overview of a brighter spectrum. It's not just digital world, it's not just tech illustrations, it's not just this or that. It's beyond that, and it's good to have this understanding of the world.
Now, have you guys ever collaborated on anything together?
I feel like a long time ago, yes, but we just live too far away from each other to constantly collaborate on stuff.
No, that makes sense. But I just when I see these little mushroom guys, I think of your bird and your fish, and I think that they could easily have kind of a crossover cinematic universe.
We
And it'd
should
be
just
cool to see you
look
guys
into
work
that.
together.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
I like also under here like the I think aren't these called like I think death spikes or something. A lot of times when mushrooms have these on the underside or something, I think you're not supposed to eat them, but they make them very pretty. And I like kind of how she's approaching them differently between like this is perspective is obviously wildly different than the one that's directly next to it, which is like flat, but this one kind of feels like under. But the way that she approaches all of it, and then she has these grasses on the outside framing it, and then the negative space on the inside is really nice to see.
It's really, really great.
Next up, we have Trabalastudio, which is a ceramics workshop because you love ceramics. Is this where you go to create pottery, or is this just a place that inspires you?
This is a place I randomly found while I was walking around Athens. And I loved it because when you see the first picture of these little ceramic dogs, I was like, I have to have one. They look like Fuji a little bit, and they're so quirky and so weird. But it's a studio and a shop all in one place, and it's just a wonderful little studio that I absolutely love, and her style is amazing. Her shop is amazing, and she just it's visible that she does everything from her heart, and it shows through her work, and I absolutely love that.
Oh, yeah, we have this little guy too. I know one thing that we have kind of touched on a little bit is the idea of like showing process and dealing with the social aspect of things. Do you tend to document your practices at all? I know that you have a lot of stuff with NDA, but do you have any sort of approach when you're kind of working to create case studies or working to kind of film your process?
I have tried to document my process on TikTok. I absolutely love videos of people drawing stuff, people designing stuff. So I've tried this and that over at my TikTok. I am not too serious about it though. It takes so much time and effort for me to do it. I don't know how people do all those reels and stuff. I can watch them endlessly, but when it comes to me shooting one, it's just like it's impossible for me. So I do have like 5 or 6 on TikTok, but it's something that I want to do more of, but it's on the back burner for now.
And we can find you at Bardenova pretty much on everything, including Instagram and TikTok as well. And you go on here, and this is where you post anything that you have traveling your adventures, and then also any thing that you may work on in the future with process. There was one last person that you mentioned as an inspiration, and gosh, they're so cute. It's Mameko Maeda, and it kind of reminds me almost of the stickers that you recently picked up with the little tomatoes, because it has little faces. But do you want to kind of talk about what inspires you about their work?
I love how clean cut they are and how like toned down all the colors she picks. I just found this randomly on Instagram, and I couldn't stop staring at a specific illustration. I can't remember which one it was, but I've been obsessed with her ever since. I want to have everything printed in my home and look at it all day long, because it just gives me such a nice feeling inside. I love her little characters. I love the consistency throughout her characters as well, but every single illustration shows a different emotion, even though the face remains the same. It's the body language. I think she's really funny and very cheeky with her illustration.
Using the whole canvas and the whole body to make sure that you get the full emotion for it. I love the motion between these two. It's so cool. And that swirl and the remanifestation of it as well. And just these little characters too. Look at his little ears, little belly button. Very cute, very fun. And thank you for sharing all of these really cool pieces of inspiration. I now have more people to follow. We have about 15 minutes left. I know that you mentioned that we would maybe be able to take a little peek into your workflow and see some stickers that you created for your team. Do you want to try sharing your screen again, and we can see if that pops up?
Let me see if that will be able.
Also, we can also talk a little bit too about your position at Shopify, and maybe like some things that kind of go into you as a creator, and also as someone who has to work on the business side of things. How do you kind of juggle those two hats?
Yeah, of course. Can you see my screen, or is it still blank?
Yeah, I'm not even actually getting the option for it to be shared on the bottom right now.
That's
sometimes it helps if you do a share whole screen rather than a window, because sometimes the window gets weird.
Entire screen. Share. Okay, it's gonna be Meta right now. Oh, doesn't let me share an entire screen. Okay, let's try one more time. Window, Illustrator. Does that work?
It looks like we are getting the blank thing again, but that's okay. That's no big deal. We can just talk a little bit about your various hats of kind of working in a business setting and also as an illustrator. What are some tips that you have when you are managing creative projects to make sure that they still hit deadlines and meet the KPIs that you need to hit while still maintaining your artistic vision and things that you're excited about?
That's a great question, and that's something that I try to find a workaround daily. And my answer to this would be to pick your own battles, and just see where you can really, really push for a creative output, and where you can step back and take all the feedback that it can get and get better next time. So it's really important to just think about the input, think about the impact you'll be doing, and evaluate everything and draw the line and say, okay, this time, let's just make a compromise. Next time we'll do this and that to make sure that everybody could agree on a specific thing.
Is there a way that you personally find ways to prioritize what's important to you, and like what you're okay with cutting and what you're okay with like not cutting? Like, is there anything that you specifically like, I will never compromise on, like not compromise, but I will never like fall off of something that like I don't feel like type works or illustration works? Like, do you feel strongly about your opinion on maybe like visuals of any kind?
Yes and no, and this also comes in with picking your own battles. Sometimes you need to make a compromise because obviously there's a lot of people involved and you're not a single decision maker. And even if I think that type, let's say a certain type doesn't work, I voice my opinion, but as a team, we evaluate the situation and see if we have the bandwidth, we have the time to fix certain things, if this is even a priority right now. I raise all the flags that I can raise, and then I check with all stakeholders and everybody on the team just to make sure we're all on the same page, we're hitting deadlines, we're hitting targets, and still doing great work. Because at the end of the day, what's important is you're proud of the work that you ship and you're proud of your team, and you kind of learn from your team and you learn to make compromises and you learn to kind of collaborate well with people.
Oh, well said.
So collaboration, I wish I could share this project with you because I worked on this project at Shopify, and it's illustrations and fun little things that we did to improve our collaboration within our teams, just to make it a bit more fun and a bit more informal and a bit more engaging for everybody. Collaboration is a big thing at a big company. So I just wanted to share this. Sorry that my screen sharing doesn't work, but after this, I might just update my work portfolio and add this project as well.
Well, we look forward to seeing it. We'll definitely make sure we keep a keen eye on your socials and on your website. I know that you also, on your website, you have listed that you're a creative mentor on Skillshare. How has it been being a mentor? Do you are you still accepting clients as far as people you are willing to mentor? And then also, in general, are you available for clients for freelance, even though you're doing your Shopify thing?
Not as I wish I could work on all the fun little projects. I am a person who says no very difficult. I wish I could say yes all the time. The thing is, I need to be very picky now because my time is very limited. But I like to keep a good balance of just like, to me, a freelance project would be to even help out a friend with a random logo or like create a dog portrait of a friend's dog or stuff like this. To me, this is creative work that I see as something to keep me inspired and something to keep me going. I do say yes to some fun extra freelance gigs, but not as I used to. And I mean, back to your point, it's just trying to find the perfect balance. You can't work like 5 jobs all at once, even if those are your 5 dream projects. You have to focus on one thing and see it to the end. And now I'm focusing on my position at Shopify and just trying to really ship great work and learn from my team. I work with amazingly talented people and I learn from them every single day. And it's just been great. I've been a freelancer for so long. Having a team of creatives, having everybody jump on the same file and collaborate and brainstorm and bounce ideas off of each other is just such a treasure to me right now. I'm trying to experience it and learn from it as much as I can.
Yeah, and Wade is agreeing that those types of creative outlets are super important. I was just doing a quick scroll through of some of your work, and I saw that you had some animated stickers for the Bulgarian telecom company Vivacom, and it is in a foreign language. Now, are you bilingual and you can understand what this says, or was this more so like a situation where they just gave you like kind of what it said and then you reformatted it into a new language?
That is cute that you bring this up. I'm actually Bulgarian, so this is my mother tongue. I do speak Bulgarian, and it's in Cyrillic, so it's like a completely different alphabet from English. I speak English as well. I speak a little bit of German, although I wish my German was a bit better, and I speak a little bit of Russian. So Russian is
wow.
Cyrillic, so it's pretty much.
I'm American, so I speak only English, and I wish I spoke more.
Very well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But I am really interested in kind of like how you gravitate towards when you're working in different languages. Do you prefer to work maybe in this because they have more interesting characters, or is it easier to work in like Latin-based, like A through Z when you're working with letter forms?
I would say it's probably challenging to work with characters from, like, let's say Japanese, because I would have limited understanding of what's going on, and I wouldn't know where to put an emphasis on or what to bring out from the type. But it's a challenge that I am super excited about. Working in different languages has been super interesting to me because I get to learn a lot, and the brainstorming process and the learning curve is different, so you get to kind of experience it a bit differently. So it's always fun to learn, to work with different languages. This one is not a great example because obviously I speak Bulgarian, but with other similar projects, it's always fun to jump straight to it and learn about the alphabets and about the characters and how to best bring them out in a project.
Well, what I specifically like about this one is like within these. I mean, I'm not familiar with what these say. I'm assuming they don't say offensive things. But what I really like is the inline of the type, how it wiggles, and the type itself stays static. I think is a really cool way to add motion and life to otherwise static pieces of work, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, when you work with digital stickers, more often than not, you are limited to a certain amount of frames. So you have to be really smart in the ways you want to animate things. So bringing just a little bit of emotion without increasing the size of the frames is ideal in this case. And this is a challenge that we faced with this particular set, and that's why it's not as motion heavy as maybe some other stickers that I've designed, but it was very limiting, and we had to find some ways around that.
Well, I know that you said that you enjoy doing cell animation. Do you have any sort of traditional training in animation, or is it all self-taught?
It's all self-taught.
Oh,
I
wow.
used to watch loads and loads of cartoons when I was a kid. I was obsessed, and it where it all started. So I'm just trying to intertwine it with everything else that I do.
I'd actually seen your Christmas cookies before. Big fan of the beheading of the little gingerbread cookies. But I am also interested to see kind of more of these brush stroke style pieces in the future. I know that you're more on like a flatter sense now, but it is cool to see this almost like you were talking about merging the two of physical and digital outlets. And it would be cool to see more of that kind of manifest in your work.
Oh, definitely. And it's something that I always try to bring out as well. I am obsessed with finding the perfect balance between organic and digital. Sometimes I go overboard and I scrap it all and begin with it without any texture, without any extra brushes and stuff like this, all flat. And sometimes I'm feeling extra risky and I just go all in and I'm happy with the result.
Right on. And then is there anything that you have kind of in the works or coming up that you would like to promote? I know you said that you're very busy with a lot of actual work and just real life, but what can we expect from you in the coming weeks?
I am so glad you asked. In the coming weeks, I'm not sure about weeks, but in the coming months, you brought up Skillshare. So a couple of super fun tutorials are coming to Skillshare, and I'm super excited about those. I am a very awkward person behind camera. I hope it didn't show throughout this.
No, you fooled me today.
But yeah, there's some really fun tutorials about illustration, about animation, about design, and about art in general that are coming up on Skillshare. They might appear on YouTube as well, still figuring out logistics and stuff like this. So if you want to create like fun, quirky characters, maybe a fish on a skateboard, I don't know, tune in and I will tell you all the secrets that I know, because I love sharing what I know with other people, and I love just not gatekeeping, but leaving it all out so people can find their own inspiration.
Yeah, I look forward to that, and then we can just find that. You'll obviously post that onto your socials when that kind of comes a little bit closer. You mentioned it might be on YouTube. Do you run your own YouTube page, or is that something you're kind of wanting to start soon?
I've had a YouTube page since forever, but everything on there is private just because I'm still figuring things out.
Right. Okay. Well, we will keep an eye on to see if any of that changes.
Yeah.
And then one last thing is actually this last piece that we have here, which is different from any of your other stuff because it incorporates photos in a sense of animation, which is really cool. What is the creative block? What was this? Was this commissioned or is this personal work?
This is personal work, and this is something I still get inquiries about almost daily. People seem to love this set so much, and it was just a fun thing to create. I had this idea. I wanted to kind of bring different media, create like a collage sort of thing. As you already know, I was obsessed with collages back in the day, so this is bringing some of that back and trying to make it cool again. And to me, it worked out so well. I get to edit some of the photos on Photoshop, like try to be, because these are all random photos found on the internet. I wanted to create some consistency between them. On some, you'll see like if you scroll down to the guy with the swirly eyeglasses.
That's my favorite one.
To me, he looks like he doesn't fit with the rest a little bit, but this is something that maybe just
That's
I
just
can
you.
see because the colors are a little bit different. But to me, this is just a great example of having fun in your own personal time, using your own favorite colors and color palettes, being extra creative and not limiting yourself with different briefs and stakeholders and different opinions, but just going all in and expressing an idea. And this particular project has landed me so many different gigs, I cannot even begin to tell you. So just spend time on your personal projects, post them online, and see magic happen.
Well, that's great advice to end with. Thank you very much for everything that you shared with us today, from your work to your inspiration to your process to your sketches. It was really nice being able to pick your brain. Good to see your collection as well. And yes, thank you to the real star of the show, honestly.
I have to say goodbye to everybody.
Yeah, right. What was your dog's name?
Fuji.
Fuji. Fuji, and you have a Muji sketchbook. So Fuji and Muji. But thank you again. We can find you online. I know you said TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Dribble,
and soon Skillshare on YouTube.
And it's soon, Skillshare and on YouTube. Thank you to everyone that was in chat, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ryan, for having me. I had so much fun, and I will speak to you soon.
Safe travels too. When we're heading out of Greece.
Thank you so much.
Talk soon. All right, guys, that's it for this episode of Offset. I will be back in about 5 minutes with Jack Sorokin, and it's going to be a photography-based and AI-based stream, and I'm excited about it. It's the last one of Offset. So make sure you stick on around, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes. Thank you guys for all your great questions and comments in chat. It was a very lively chat, and it always makes things more exciting. And I hope you guys enjoyed all the inspiration, and click all the links that Wade was able to throw up there. Thank you very much for moderating, Wade. Appreciate you. And we'll talk to y'all in just 5 minutes. All right. See you guys in a bit. Bye.